Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Short Hops with manager Kevin Hooper. Short Hops is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the Wichita Wingnuts skipper questions about the Wingnuts, baseball, or sports in general, or you could just seek Kevin's wisdom about life events or find out what he's got going on in life. This week we have an exciting program for you as Kevin talks to us about what's going on with his team. He shares his insights into the Major League Baseball playoffs, and we talk a little NFL with him. And he discusses with us how he proposed to his wife and shares a little bit about a marital advice that he's got going on for this week. So let's get right to Short Hops. So let us welcome back manager Kevin Hooper. Kevin, let's begin first of all by talking about any team updates that you have for us related to the Wingnuts for the season.
Yeah, really nothing going on related to that as of yet. So, that could start cranking up here anytime. It might still be a couple weeks before we do a whole lot with our team. Really, the only thing right now is, I got a call today actually from Rick Forney in Winnipeg about, you're starting to process the exhibition schedule. They were wanting to. He knows that they're going to start down in Texas like they do every year. They usually like to stop in on their way and play an exhibition game there towards the end of spring training. So they're actually going to Kansas City that weekend before, and we're trying to maybe set something up where ourselves, Winnipeg, Gary, and Kansas City, the four teams, maybe have an extended weekend just playing each other. It'd be fun for everybody. So we'll see what comes of that. So, yeah, a lot of, just pre-season stuff, I would say, that happens right now with the exhibition schedule, trying to get everything lined out.
Sounds good. I know you mentioned, I believe it was in last week's show, that the owners were going to be voting on the international rule. So how did that work out for you?
Yeah, everybody who's listening, I got great news with that. So the international rule is no longer in place.
Oh, nice.
So I think all of us managers got our wish. Thank goodness. So back to the game of baseball.
Can-Am League
to the 11th inning. So
Can-Am League keeping it, and then American Association not.
You know what? I'm not sure about the Can-Am. I just know that it's not in our league. So that's a good question. I haven't asked anybody yet if it's still going to go on in the Can-Am League. Because if we go east again, obviously when you go out east and you play those teams, that rule is in effect. So I'll be anxious to hear what that rule is.
Well, that's just nice that you got rid of it out of your league for a while here.
Yeah, no doubt. That'll make everybody happy, as far as players and managers at least, for sure.
That is nice. Well, so you're satisfied with being 0-3 then? It doesn't matter to you anymore now.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, even if I would have gone 3-0, I still would have been opposed to the whole thing. So I was never a fan, even when it started out and was getting mentioned. I was actually just trying to find any way possible to veto it before it even happened, but we weren't real successful in doing that.
Well, I'm glad to see we're back to normal baseball.
No doubt.
Well, let us move on to fan questions this week. So let's first of all begin with Stan from Wichita, who asked, did you think that the play at second in the Dodgers-Mets game from this last Saturday night was a dirty play?
Another good question, Stan, as always. I've gotten that question actually from a lot of people since it's happened. And, I'm about as hard-nosed as you're going to come. When I played, breaking double plays up, I was a middle infielder, and I took a lot of pride in protecting myself, using the bag to protect myself. For whatever reason, whether it's because I had really good feet or whatnot, but I never really had an instance where I got blown up at second. So, but I took a lot of pride in it, in the way. I did not like how Tejada turned his back to first base and was going to make that throw. That's kind of me teaching infield play, and from what I've heard from guys in the past that have been successful teaching infield and good infield coaches, that's a no coming from shortstop, is turning your back because you can't see who's coming and where they're at. It was an unfortunate deal, and like I said, I'm about as hard-nosed as you'll find, but I think that was a little over the top, no doubt about it. I don't even think you call it a slide. I think that's more of a tackle, and it's unfortunate. As you watch the replay over and over, he didn't slide before the bag, and it's just unfortunate. And here he goes, Tejada's out with a broken leg, and just kind of an unfortunate situation. That stuff's going to happen, Like I said, I want our guys to break up double plays every chance they get, but we're also going to do it a certain way where it's legal.
Lester from Wichita asked, kind of, I guess along in the same vein, do you think that it's time to eliminate the breaking up of the double play at second? They protect catchers now. Why not infielders?
Yeah, I think that there's got to be at least something done about, like, Utley's situation. And I've seen a couple clips of some other situations where guys aren't even sliding before the bag. You know, they're pretty much waiting till they get on top of the bag and then taking a guy out without even sliding. So I don't think that should be allowed. And, yeah, we're protecting catchers left and right now, which is fine, you know. But maybe it's time that, like I said, I'm a hard-nosed guy and love seeing the double play broken up when it's done the right way. But when it's out of line, you know, and I think that was a little out of line. And like I said, Utley was just trying to break it up. You know, I don't think he definitely didn't mean to hurt Tejada. It just happened. And if he went back, he'd probably change things, I would guess. But, you know, maybe something does need to be done about it to where it's just a little bit safer and you're protecting those guys a little bit more.
You know, I'm curious, and so you probably have a ton more experience in this than I ever would, Kevin, but I never see this kind of play at third. I don't know if a guy never gets on top of a third baseman like that, but do you ever see a guy trying to take the third baseman out, like when he's trying to throw into second or something? Yeah,
you know, I've seen it happen on, you know, maybe the only times I've seen it are when a guy, third baseman, gets a ground ball to him and he's going to step on third and then trying to throw across the diamond to first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To take the double play that way. So first and second base, or even bases loaded, he gets a ground ball, steps on third, and then throws to first. I've had some of my guys take out third basemen in those situations. But other than that, no, I really haven't seen, you know, anything like it, like a guy bearing down like they do at second base to break up the double play.
Okay, because I was kind of curious about that because I thought, well, is this fair then that you're just singling out the middle infielders to get hammered like that? But nobody's trying to hit a third baseman that way. So
yeah, and it's very rarely that you see that third. Like I said, it's that play where he's got to catch it, step on third, and throw to first, and you've probably got to have a guy who's quick enough at second that can even get to him in time.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Our next question is from Chad from Hayesville, who asks, there were some great shortstops in the playoffs in the postseason here, so who is your favorite to watch?
Oh, that's a tough question. There's a lot of good shortstops, you know, in the playoffs right now. And, you know, me being a former shortstop myself, that's something that I love watching. And, you know, it's always fun. And when teams get this far, they're more than likely going to have, you know, a pretty good shortstop. So I tell you what, Correa for Houston is something else. I mean, that guy's 21 years old, and the things I saw him do today against the Royals, obviously being a Midwest team, you know, we're keeping a close eye on them. And just seeing what he did today offensively, you know, being a 21-year-old is pretty special. And he made a big error, though, you know, and then, you know, Addison Russell with the Cubs. And, you know, there's just a lot. And you got Tulo with Toronto and Elvis with Texas, and you know, you got a veteran guy and Jimmy Rollins playing short for the Dodgers tonight. So a lot of good ones. And Escobar for the Royals, what a gem he is defensively. So I don't know if I have a favorite actually, but what I saw Correa do offensively today was pretty impressive for a 21-year-old to be that strong. And like I said, I didn't like the error that he made, but other than that, you know, he was fun to watch and a guy that, you know, everybody's gonna hear of in a hurry and hear about for a long time coming.
I don't think I've seen a playoffs recently with 8 such quality shortstops as this particular group.
Yeah, as I just rolled through them, you know, and you got some young ones in there with it. You know, Addison's a rookie for the Cubs, and obviously Correa with Houston. So, and then the Mets lost their guy because of you know, of what happened there in the collision, but. You know, it's always fun to watch. It's always fun to watch, and me being a defensive-minded guy and building our teams, you know, that are strong up the middle. It's always good to fun. A lot of fun to watch at the highest level.
Tim from Butler would like to know if you think Kansas City is going to down Houston and advance to the ALCS.
I actually do. I really do. After coming back from being down 6-2 in the 8th today and taking the lead and doing what they did, I tell you what, that's going to take a toll on Houston mentally, I do believe, here in the next day and a half. So it's all pretty impressive, them coming back. You know, I know a lot of people counted them out and what Houston did, how they put up those 6. It was in a hurry, and the stadium was going crazy. And in Kansas City, to quiet that stadium the way they did, I think that momentum shift big time. And it'll be rowdy up in Kansas City Wednesday night, that's for sure.
I don't know if you'd seen, but the governor of Texas had already tweeted congratulations to the Astros for advancing. So,
I did not see that. Yeah. I did not. And you know what? If the Royals would have, or if they do lose, it'd kind of be neat for the Rangers to beat the Blue Jays just to see Texas versus Houston. That'd be pretty cool for the state of Texas.
Yes, it would. Our next question comes from Dave from Wichita, who asked, do you think it's unfair to label some pitchers as choking in the playoffs? Everyone seems down on the job that Clayton Kershaw has done in the postseason, but he's facing the Cardinals and Giants and had the Mets this year. It's not like he's facing the Padres.
Yeah, no doubt, Dave. And yeah, I don't know if it's fair either, you know, because Kershaw is arguably one of the best, if not the best pitcher in all of baseball, and he has been here for a bit. And you know, when you get to the playoffs, you're playing a good team, bottom line. And you know, everybody's going to be ready, no matter if the ace is on the hill. You're going to get everything the other team's got offensively, and they're going to grind it out any way they possibly can. And you know, it's been well documented and stated about Kershaw and his flaws in the postseason. But I'll tell you what, I sure would take him throwing game one for me any day of the week. That's for sure, just because of what he's capable of doing. And he's definitely capable of shutting an offense down any given night. He just ran into some tough luck in the playoffs.
And facing some quality lineups every time, too. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Lucas from Topeka would like to know if you thought Matt Williams and Lloyd McClendon being fired already was justified.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really answer that, Lucas, for me to say whether it's justified or not. Matt Williams is a tough one. I mean, here you are. He did well last year, and I mean, they won 83 games this year, I believe.
I believe so.
You know, so that means they went 83-79, had another winning record, but they were the odds-on favorite to win the World Series going into the season, too. So, you know, his fault or not, it comes to lofty expectations when you sit in this chair, no matter what level it is. You know, and when there's a lot of expectations, you know, it can be tough when you get the media thrown into it, when you get the city thrown into it, the fans, you know, and those GMs and owners and presidents, they try to keep anybody and everybody as happy as they can. And sometimes, right, wrong, or indifferent, the manager falls for it. And, you know, I know Lloyd. Lloyd was with us in Detroit in 2005, and on the staff there in Detroit, and was a big Lloyd McClendon fan. And, you know, he's done really well for himself. And another situation where there was so much expectations, they just didn't live up to it. So when that happens, you know, the manager doesn't get to put the uniform on to go out and play anymore. You know, that's on the players, and they can only do as much as they can. But when it comes down to it, you know, they're going to take the fall when that decision's made.
You know, I think, too, is that for people that aren't as old as Kevin and myself, when you and I were growing up, you know, I think of like a Tommy Lasorda who stayed as the manager of the Dodgers for like 20-something years, and a lot of guys stayed in teams for forever.
Right.
That just doesn't happen nowadays, though.
Yeah, things have definitely changed. You're exactly right.
Our next question comes from Orrin from Lawrence, who asks, do you think that the radar gun is getting too much importance in choosing pitchers these days? I think of a guy like Mike Flanagan that were great starters who never threw more than like 85 miles an hour. Why aren't they valued anymore?
Appreciate the question, Orrin. From my hometown, I'm guessing that's Lawrence, Kansas, where I was born and raised. So very nice to get a question from Lawrence. But, yeah, I've always said it, and we're a perfect example, I think, where we've had plenty of guys come through and put the wingnut uniform on. Tim Brown, for a perfect example. The guy throws 84, 85 miles an hour and finds a way to get everybody out. And I definitely think the radar gun is you know, getting to be a little, putting too much emphasis on it, but that's the way the game's changed as well. I've said it throughout every year I've managed that I don't care if a guy throws 85 or 95. I want guys who can get guys out, bottom line. So, and you would think an affiliated team would want the same. But, you look down on the bullpens now, everybody down there throws 95, it seems. And that just wasn't the case back on, as you were just talking about, Robert, some of the things with managers as well. Things have changed. The game's changed a little bit. There's so many power arms. And that's what they're looking for, like it or not. That's just kind of the way it's going. And you feel for guys like Timmy, who's dominated in our league for years and never really have gotten that opportunity because he throws 85 miles an hour. And he's probably not going to get that opportunity because of that. It's unfortunate.
It really is, because you look at the history of baseball, and some of the guys that had great success were people that just knew how to pitch.
Absolutely not. You're preaching to the choir with me, Warren, on that one, because I've said it all along that as a manager, I don't care how hard you throw. You can throw 80 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour. If you can get guys out and show that you can continue to do so, why would you not want that?
I agree with you completely. James from Salina has a question for you related to the instant replay. Excuse me. He asks, is instant replay making baseball too rigid? He thinks of that play Saturday night with the double play breakup where the runner is ruled out but then is ruled safe after instant replay shows the phantom tag. You see 1,000 plays like this in a season. This seems to be too obsessive. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely changed the game, no doubt. And I don't know if you watched the Royals game today, but Gore sliding into third base, and he hit the bag. He was safe, and then his feet actually came off the bag for just a second, and he was tagged. And the announcers were talking about this is the play that instant replay wasn't created for, but it's kind of what it's turning into, and it takes the human element out of the game, that's for sure. I've talked about that a lot in the past about umpires. They're human beings just like we are, managers, players. And, they're going to miss some calls here or there, and it's tough. When you're going full speed and the speed of the game at the big league level, how fast it is, it's going to happen where there's going to be bangers and they're going to be wrong. But nowadays with instant replay the way it is, they're all those calls are changed.
I just look at them and I think, I'm looking at the play you're talking about today, is that I just don't see the purpose of instant replay on a guy who's clearly safe. I mean, it's not like he overslid the bag or anything.
Right.
He's safe.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, game speed, the human element, there's no way you can see that his foot would have come off. The only way you're seeing that is in slow motion, where instant replay with what they do in New York, where they can see it in slow-mo and slow everything down. And like I said, those plays, it kind of takes away from it, I think, and it's a little unfortunate. But, obsessive is a good word, I think, for that, James. It's become a crazy deal for sure. And I like it. I've liked it in certain situations, but that play, like you said today, where he's safe, and there's no way you would ever – and it's just for a split second where his foot comes off. And I saw a couple of replays early on. I'm like, no, his foot never even came off. And then they show the right angle, and you can see that it came off. So just crazy. Definitely has changed a lot of things in the game, that's for sure.
Yeah, there was a play in the Toronto game where Ben Revere had slid into second base, and I guess they were assuming that as his hands had gone past the bag, that his body had not been on second any longer. And of course, the shortstop's holding on to the ball, onto the guy as long as he can at this point. Now he would still want it being safe, but I'm thinking, this is like a waste of 3 or 4 minutes of time because the guy's safe. So.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, on to football questions we have from people this week. The first one comes from diehard Chiefs fan who asks, the Chiefs lost to the Bears this weekend. Can it get any worse?
Well, diehard Chiefs fan, I am a diehard Chiefs fan. I'm right there with you, pal. It's been quite the mess, and to be honest, with Jamal tearing his ACL, it's not looking real bright in the future. So, our best player just went down with a torn ACL for the season, and it could get pretty ugly in a hurry. But I guess we'll maybe start looking for the draft on a positive note. I'll find something positive out of it. So we'll see where we end up in the draft and see if we can't get a little better for next year.
Mitch from Wichita would like to know what you think is going on with the Seahawks because they look lost to him.
Yeah, they've been a mess. I know that offensive line scuffled a little bit, and they're having some issues there, and Marshawn being hurt, but the rookie running back had another great game this week. So
yeah.
I'm not real sure what's going on with the Seahawks. They've been dominant, and I mean dominant, the last couple of years, and they're just off to a slow start. I would think with the defense they have, that they have an opportunity to turn around at any point and make a run here. So it'll be interesting to see where they end up at the end of the year.
Peter from Hutchinson would like to know if you had your choice of quarterback, Brady or Rodgers.
Peter, one of the toughest questions of the week right here, hands down. That is a tough question, especially me being a manager. I get to make a lot of these decisions at times,
Yes,
I'm a Tom Brady fan. I just love Brady's grittiness. I mean, he had a quarterback sneak this weekend, and just to see the enthusiasm, after he scores and how fired up he is, and it definitely means something to him. But Rodgers, with here he loses Jordy Nelson for the year, and has had a couple other receivers go down, and he just continues. They don't skip a beat. And I would have to say, if I had to pick a guy, and this is tough. I mean, Peter, you put me on the spot here, and you Brady fans out there, because this is a toss-up as far as I'm concerned. But if you put me on the spot and made me make a decision, I'd probably go Rodgers just because of his ability to run. So there you go.
Like it.
That's tough. That's tough, though, because Brady's a winner. Brady's a winner. And so is Rodgers. So I wouldn't want to have to pick one, but if I had to, like I said, I guess I'd go Rodgers. And then maybe the next week I'd go back to Brady. How about that?
Ian from Wichita would like to know how you think of the innovative ideas of coaches like Chip Kelly.
Yeah, very creative. Very creative. I like watching Chip in his news conferences during the week, too. He's one of those coaches I like because he's just to the point about everything. And, no, I like it. It's very creative. A lot of people thought, no way that's going to work in the NFL, and he's opened some eyes, I think. And, there's sometimes you got to come in and be creative with some things, and it definitely has opened some eyes. Like I said, I know a lot of people think it wasn't going to work, but I think he's done a fine job of with what he's had and what he's dealt with and the adjustments he's been able to make on the fly in the NFL.
Ethan from Oklahoma City would like to know, would you let a guy like Greg Hardy play in the NFL? He just doesn't seem to get it.
Yeah, I'm a big character guy, that, and I don't know. It's not my decision to make, I guess, Ethan. I know that's not the answer you're probably looking for, but yeah, I don't like seeing that stuff from those guys, and I just don't understand. He gets a 10-game suspension, and then all of a sudden it's reduced to 4. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. That's kind of like a guy signing a 5-year deal, and then after year 2, he wants to renegotiate. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You signed a 5-year deal, and just because you're not the highest paid third baseman or wide receiver, you want to redo your deal. I just think that's weak. I'm a man of my word. If I sign a contract, it's a contract, and you stick with it. And especially those guys at that level make so much money. And when I see that, I just think greed. And not being a team guy and being out there for your team. So yeah, Greg Hardy. I'm not sure what the deal is there with him. He just he's a guy you pray for and hope that he can figure it out and becomes a better man.
Absolutely. We have a couple of Halloween questions for you. Stan would like to know, since it's Halloween time, do you have a favorite horror movie?
I really don't have a favorite horror movie. I'm not a huge horror guy. Growing up, I guess I would say it was the Texas Chainsaw ones. We always used to watch those, and there was quite a few ones, Nightmare on Elm Street, all those growing up. There were some good ones when we were kids growing up. I know they've changed quite a bit, just like anything else throughout the years, but, not one specific that I would say is my favorite. I got a fun Halloween story real quick. We went to my 10-year-olds at the intermediate school here. And they put on a haunted house, a haunted school for a fundraiser. That's their fundraiser every year, and they have some high school drama kids who play the parts in the haunted house. And so we went Saturday night, my 10-year-old and 7-year-old, and me and my wife and some friends and their kids, and we literally made it through probably 1/10 of the haunted house before we walked right outside the exit door. So my kids were not having it one bit. So there's your funny Halloween Hooper story of the year. We the Hooper children were not pleased with the haunted house one bit. So kind of a funny story from our family this last weekend.
I don't blame them. That's not fun when you're 7 and 10.
Yeah,
not at all.
Exactly.
Our next question wonders. A person wonders what Kevin Hooper will dress up for at Halloween.
Well, I'm going to dress up as Super Dad.
There you go.
Just being Dad. Yeah. My oldest is going to be Wonder Woman, and my youngest is going to be Batgirl. So they've talked about me being Batman and Mom being Superwoman or something like that. So we'll see. If we do dress up, it'll definitely be on the superhero side of things. So to be determined, I guess I'll have to answer that one after Halloween to see if it actually happened or not.
I was going to say,
always a fun time, though. Always a fun time with the kids.
I was going to say you could be like the Marvel Comics superhero family. But before I say that,
yes.
I don't know if those are Marvel Comics people, and I don't want some comic geek tracking me down and
yeah,
harassing me
right.
for months. So
yeah, I don't know enough about that really either. So
my apologies if I was wrong about that. So our last question for you this week comes from Andy from Wichita, who asked, he read that a man and a woman got married during the Chicago Marathon. I read this too, mile 8, as a matter of fact, I saw. So tell us how you proposed to your wife.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually at an apartment we were living in, and my wife was babysitting. So she was gone, and I had some time to kind of set things up, and nothing crazy. Just, got a ton of rose petals and put them all over the bed and had her nice little box with her ring in it in the middle. And she walked into our bedroom, and I was on a knee, and I proposed. Now, if you ask her that story, she's going to tell you that I made her wait way too long. So, as she's in the other room laughing right now, she can hear me do this interview. But, no, 8 years. 8 years I made that woman wait. And, it was, as I always say, it takes a special woman to marry a baseball guy with the lifestyle we live. And, I wanted to make sure all of our ducks were in a row, and but I had known for a long time she was definitely the one. Love her more every single day that I get to wake up in the morning. So I'm very fortunate with the family life we have, and just the time me doing what I do, especially now that I get to spend with her and my 2 babies. So there's your proposal story in the Hooper household.
That story makes me think you're reminded that it was 8 years every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she can't wait till someone, will meet a young couple, especially baseball, because she meets all the wives throughout the season,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure she hears from some of the girlfriends how long they're having to wait, and she probably says, "Oh, don't even worry, I had to wait 8 years." So, no, she chomps at the bit, but it's kind of a good thing too, because then it might think some. I guarantee you some of my players are probably happy if she says that to some of the girlfriends, because then it gives them a little breathing room. So then the girls might think maybe I may not have it so bad. So anyhow.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks for joining us this week, Kevin.
Always a pleasure, Robert. Look forward to next week. Thanks.
All right, bye. We want to thank Kevin Hooper for joining us on Short Hops this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Wingnuts manager, please send them to us at askkevin@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's askkevin@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Please have your questions to us by Friday afternoon so we can give the skipper a couple of days to review them before we record our show Monday evening. We want to thank Kevin for joining us, and thank you for joining us this week as well. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week on Short Hops.